Hi, my name is Olivia, and I'm here to tell you the story of how my life turned out after I got my leg amputated. But before that, I think you should know about my past. I grew up in a loving home with an amazing family. My parents doted on my brother and I. We were pretty close, and every weekend was either a road trip or a family vacation. I had the perfect circle of cool friends in school. It would be fair to say I had a perfect life until a major event took place. It was on a weekend when my family and I went on our usual road trip. We were singing along to music playing in the car when I saw a big truck heading towards us. It all happened so fast, and I have no memory besides waking up in the hospital. Everything was so blurry when I opened my eyes. I remember feeling sharp pain, with some parts of my body numb. It was a major relief to know my family members were all okay, as I saw them in my room. But I noticed my brother's bandaged arm, and my parents had bruises. They looked happy to see me waking up, although I saw their teary eyes. I tried to roll over, but realized I could not. The pain was so unbearable that I started screaming until a doctor and two nurses hurried in and injected painkillers as my parents were ushered out. The shocking moment was when a nurse yanked off the cloth covering my body. At first, I could not believe my eyes. The sight of a blood-stained bandage around my knee and the other leg cast in plaster of Paris was too gory a sight for me that I passed out. I woke up several hours later, sobbing, which woke my mother up, and she held me close as we shed tears uncontrollably. Till now, I cannot explain the state of shock, seeing that one of my legs had been amputated. The doctors explained that the truck fell heavily on the side where I was sitting in the car, crushed my bones, and there was no best option other than to amputate the leg while I was tranquilized. I was angry at myself for not dying in that accident because I couldn't imagine living this way. My life turned into one filled with constant struggle since the day I was discharged because I couldn't do anything by myself anymore, not even take care of my basic needs. Although my family were quite helpful tending to my needs, it saddened me that I brought this upon them. Nothing excited me anymore. I could no longer engage in any activities at school. I lost the drive to go anywhere. Whenever Mom suggested I go shopping with her and my brother, I resisted because I could not stand being assisted in public. The expression on their faces on the day I finally gave in to following them to the mall is beyond words. I really would not have thought of it, but the reason was not far-fetched. A new movie had just been released in the cinemas, and everyone seemed to be talking about it in school. To avoid pitiful eyes from gazing at me, I put on a pair of denim trousers and a t-shirt. It was still noticeable that part of the trousers was empty, and anyone who looked at me longer than I was comfortable with got a scornful look in return. On this day, I took only a crutch, not the pair, instead, to ease movement. My brother escorted me to buy the movie ticket, while Mom went on to busy herself with shopping. He pleaded that I keep it a secret that he won't be staying with me during the movie, and wanted to meet up with his friends in the arcade nearby. I could not blame him. He had two legs to move about. I didn't. As I settled into my seat at the back, waiting for the movie to start, a young guy sat in the seat next to me. It made me flinch because I was used to being alone. I noticed he came in with two male friends who sat in front. Well, with the lights off, he could not see my legs or the crutch laying flat on the floor. The movie was indeed worth the so many talks I already heard about it, and I was glad the villain was not defeated. Before the guy hurried out to join his friends, he told me his name was Adams and asked for my number. I was taken aback because we barely spoke during the movie, but stood before me saying he'd love to chat me up about the movie. I voluntarily gave him my digits, making a mental note to master his number without responding to any chatter calls. I was relieved when my brother returned to help me to my feet as we moved to the parking lot to join Mom. We were almost home when my phone buzzed repeatedly. I didn't want to answer several questions from Mom, so I picked up. I was accurate in guessing who the caller was. It was Adams. I replied coldly as I noticed my mom and brother grinning mischievously. As I expected, the call ended just as Mom drove into the garage. Days matured into months. I could not help but admire his pictures whenever he shared, or looked forward to his message pop up on my screen. Not a day passed without him asking when next we would see each other. Silly me. I even faked being at the mall at a time and made him wander through the shops. Deep down, I knew I liked Adams, but I was not so comfortable with him seeing me. I didn't want self-pity or be seen as a burden, but Adams never gave up. Every day he calls to check up on me, and few times he gets to speak with my brother, who intentionally hoots in the background. As we prepared for Thanksgiving dinner, Mom bought me a gown which I fell in love with at first sight. I was helped into it, and it looked so good as I made attempt to stand for a while. The house was beautifully decorated, and I had a weird feeling about all these preparations. We usually had friends and family visit, so it was no surprise to me when I woke up to hear voices coming from the sitting room on Thanksgiving. I could not wait to make a grand entrance in my gown. A text message popped on my screen from Adams, wishing me happy Thanksgiving. I resolved to see him after Thanksgiving Day because I could not bear keeping him in suspense or making him feel attached to me for no just reason. As I made my way to the kitchen, I saw Mom whispering to her two close friends who had come to celebrate with us about how fast I had grown. I was dazed the minute I entered the sitting room. Adams was right there, shaking hands with my brother. Then it clicked that they've been secretly planning all along. My face fell the instant I realized he was seeing me with crutches in hand, and I tried so hard to hold back the tears. Adam walked up to me and said he always knew about my amputated leg, and that he never thought of it as something that defined who I am. He thought it would be better not to bring it up because he didn't want to upset or embarrass me. Hearing these words broke me into tears, because my amputated leg was the only thing I could think of since the accident, to the point that I forgot I was much more than a girl with one leg missing. I was smart, kind, funny. I had an amazing family and people who loved me for who I am, and much, much more. I know it might be hard to believe what I'm about to say, but that day was the first Thanksgiving I truly felt thankful for everything I have.